I met Lana in my third year of university. She was everything I wasn't: bold, magnetic, effortlessly social. Meanwhile, I was the quiet guy who sat a couple rows behind her in Psych 307, scribbling notes and minding my own business. Our paths should have never crossed. But during a group assignment, I cracked a joke and she actually laughed. The way she looked at me that moment, hit me like a punch to the chest. From that point on, I was done for. Lana had a way of owning every room she walked into, making everyone feel like her presence was a privilege. For a while, I felt lucky to be one of the people she let close. We started spending more time together: late-night texts, coffee runs after class, random conversations that stretched longer than they should have. But the more I got to know her, the more I noticed something off. When it was just the two of us, she was gentle, even thoughtful. But around others, she switched personalities: cold, dismissive, sometimes downright mean. At first, I brushed it off as harmless teasing. That's how she talked to everyone, right? But her comments toward me gradually sharpened. She joked about my clothes, mocked the way I walked, made fun of my lack of dating experience. Her friends laughed right along with her, and I'd force myself to smile as though it didn't cut into me. It wasn't just the jokes. It was the way she never stuck up for me when others joined in. The way she'd casually bring up guys she was flirting with, giving me these side glances to watch my reaction, reminding me I wasn't someone she considered important. And the worst part? I stayed. I kept hoping she'd treat me differently if I just held on long enough. I reached out first. I waited for replies that came whenever she felt like it. I made excuses for her behavior and convinced myself it was just her personality. Then everything blew up one night at a party. Lana was in peak performance mode, drinks flowing, attention on her, dragging me into conversations only to turn me into the punchline. At one point she introduced me to a group as her little emotional support loser. 10 people laughed. I didn't. My chest was tight, but for the first time I didn't pretend. I simply nodded and walked out. I didn't go back to her. I didn't text. When she messaged the next day with a casual, "Oh, are you mad?" I ignored it. And for the first time since meeting her, I felt something unfamiliar: relief. The silence rattled her. At first she acted like she didn't notice. Then came the "you're being weird" text. Then late-night messages asking where I was. Then she showed up at my apartment without warning. Standing in my doorway, she suddenly looked small. "It feels like you're punishing me," she said. "Why are you acting like this? Why are you so distant?" And in that moment, I finally saw her for who she really was. Not the unshakable, confident girl everyone admired, but someone desperately insecure, using the attention of others to hold herself together. I told her the truth, that I had feelings for her, that I respected myself too much to keep being the person she laughed at in public and leaned on in private, and that I deserved more than being treated like a joke. She stared at me like no one had ever spoken honestly to her before. She didn't apologize, at least not in any way that mattered. She just stood there expecting me to fall back into orbit around her. But I didn't. I wish I could say she changed after that, that she became the person I hoped she could be. But people like Lana don't transform for anyone except themselves, and only when they finally decide to. What changed instead was me. I stopped waiting for someone to validate me. I stopped confusing being belittled with being noticed. And slowly, I began attracting people who genuinely saw me, not as background noise but as someone worth knowing, someone worth respecting. I still run into Lana now and then, same city, same mutual friends. She watches me from across rooms now, her gaze lingering, her voice quieter than before. Maybe she remembers how I used to revolve around her. Maybe she wonders how things would have gone if she hadn't pushed me away. But I don't wonder anymore. I've lived that chapter. I learned what I needed to learn. And I walked out of it stronger. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is stepping away from someone who never appreciated you in the first place. Walking away isn't losing, it's finally recognizing your own worth. People like Lana never expect you to cut the cord because they depend on your silence to maintain control. But once you stop giving them access, everything shifts, not to punish them, not to hurt them, but to finally free yourself. I didn't need an apology. I didn't need closure. I just needed to choose myself, really choose myself, for the first time in a long time. And once I did, everything else fell into place.